I have another story for you today. Today's story is IQ Goes to School. September. IQ came to school on the very first day. Children, said Mrs. Ferber, the teacher, this is IQ. He is our class pet. But IQ didn't want to be a class pet. He wanted to be a student. Every day he watched and listened. When Mrs. Ferber read a book, IQ sat quietly with his hands in his lap. Some books made him laugh, and some made him cry, but he loved them all. Mrs. Ferber said everyone needed exercise. When the children went to recess, IQ ran on his wheel. Each Monday, Mrs. Ferber picked the student of the week. That student got to sit in a special chair and bring in things to share for the entire week. Mrs. Ferber picked Holly's name first. IQ wondered when it would be his turn to be student of the week. October. In October, the class learned the alphabet. When everybody went home, IQ hummed the alphabet song to himself. Then he didn't feel so lonely. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, and Z. During the last week of the month, the class cut out decorations for Halloween. IQ had trouble using scissors. He made his decorations out of tissues and string. Spooky ghosts. November. In November, the class learned the names of all the colors in the rainbow. IQ tried to color his own rainbow. The crayons were too big, so he finger painted a rainbow instead. IQ had a small role in the Thanksgiving play. The night of the performance, he played his part with lots of emotion. At the end, he took a big bow. IQ still wondered when he would be student of the week. December. By December, IQ could count to 10 on his toes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Danielle, Tim, and Jonathan shared their different holiday traditions and talked about their plans for winter break. IQ worried that he would spend his vacation all alone at school. But Miss Ferber asked who would like to take IQ home for the holidays. Nearly everyone raised their hands. Mrs. Ferber chose Stephanie, who was sitting quietly. IQ's vacation was everything he hoped it would be. He made snowman, drank cocoa, and even got a present. January. After New Year's Day, Stephanie returned IQ to the classroom. He used the treats Alex sneaked him to learn about more, equal, less, 0. Writing was so much harder to learn. Even though he practiced holding his pencil, his letters were very messy. February. In February, IQ made valentines for each of the other students, and an extra special one for Mrs. Ferber. He was afraid the children might think he was a teacher's pet, so he didn't sign his name. IQ still hadn't been student of the week. After learning about George Washington and Abraham Lincoln, IQ decided he wanted to be president when he grew up. Then he could have his own special chair and a desk to go with it. March. In March, the class studied shapes. IQ found more circles, squares, and rectangles in the classroom than anyone else. On St. Patrick's Day, the children found little green footprints all around the classroom. They thought leprechauns came to visit Miss Ferber. Leprechauns came to visit. Miss Ferber had her own suspicions. By mid-spring, IQ could read hat, bat, and cat. For science, the class planted seeds to watch them grow. The class couldn't figure out why IQs never grew. May. In May, the class went on a field trip to the zoo. IQ was not allowed to go. He thought it was because he did not have a signed permission slip. He was sure it was his turn to be student of the week, but by the end of the month, Miss Ferber still hadn't called his name. June. There's only one more week of school left. Maybe Mrs. Ferber forgot to put my name in the Student of the Week bowl, thought IQ. He decided not to take any chances. On Monday, Mrs. Ferber reached into the bowl and pulled out a name. This week's Student of the Week is IQ. Yay! Finally, IQ had his turn to sit in the special chair and share with the class. On the last day of school, the class had a party. and the children talked about their plans for the summer vacation. IQ was worried. He didn't have any plans. Where is IQ going for this summer? The children asked. Mrs. Ferber smiled. I will be working at summer camp, and IQ is going to be the camp pet. But IQ already knew he didn't want to be the camp pet. He wanted to be a camper. The end. That was a pretty good story. I liked that he spent all his time learning the things and trying to be a good student, and he had fun with all of his classmates. Oh, I love you and I miss you. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.